It's a long-standing question if you can run a roof air conditioner on an RV based on solar. And the big question is really, yeah, maybe you can do it on solar, but you need a lot of batteries also in here. We have a RV and a trailer. In the RV, we have 5 Tesla modules. That is the same storage as around 40 normal AGM batteries. Is just even less than the weight of 6 AGM batteries. We also have a setup in the trailer. And in total, we have 4.5 kilowatts of solar panels. We have both 24 volt systems in RV and also in the trailer using Magnum inverters. So we have been doing certain testing in here. First, we did some testing when we had several days in a row with close to 100 degrees, typically around 95 for most of the day. We were running one roof AC for the rear of the RV, and we had the door closed and the gate open, so it actually just blew out the air directly in the room. To run this, we need 10 to 12 kilowatt hours extra just to run a single AC at around 95 degrees. On a typical day, here's 3 days in a row, we actually ran the AC. 2 of the days was quite sunny, and the batteries were fully charged, and we could run for several hours where the sun provided all the energy. We still needed quite a lot of energy to run the AC overnight, because even if the sun went down at around 5 o'clock and didn't really generate a lot of power, we still needed to run the AC quite regularly all the way until like 10 o'clock in the evening, because of the temperature was dropping quite slowly in there. In a typical day without AC in the summer, we have our batteries charged, and we use quite a lot of energy. We use around 9 kilowatt hours, and that is in amp hours at 12 volts, it will be around 750 amp hours. At the end of the day, on this graph, the orange one is how much solar is being input, and it quite quickly drops off from the peak at 10 o'clock. And then the batteries are fully charged, but we use the convection oven and the water heater also use quite a lot of energy in here. Running the AC on an overcast day, you can see the blue graph is the battery volts, and as we pull the large loads, it will actually drop the voltage slightly even on the Tesla modules. But basically during the whole day, it will go up and down as the AC cycles in and out in here. We still use around 9 or 10 to 12 extra kilowatt hours for this day in here. And even at night, even close to midnight, the AC would actually still run for a short period in here to cool down the room. On a sunny day, we still managed around 12:30 or so. The batteries ended up being full, and then it sloped down as normal. So around 2 o'clock or so, the battery was basically fully charged. We still ran the AC now, cycling in and out, needing around 1200 watt or so for running the AC when it did. Again, at night, it keeps on going for a long time. We have recently tested in around 90 degrees, again running one roof AC, starting out at 10 o'clock in the morning and ending around 7 or 8 in the evening. It requires 6 kilowatt hours extra compared to what we normally be using. I have some more details about this one also, about the consumption from the batteries versus just what's coming in from the sun. So at this point, we're using this day, we were generating 15 kilowatt hours. The green one is actually the consumption or what goes into the battery. So at night, of course, we are negative. We used an electric fireplace in the morning, and that's basically drove it more negative. Then as the sun charges, we need the AC, and it starts cycling in and off in here. And this one is basically the voltage on the battery. If we look at it now, only what we're actually consuming. So now the solar versus battery is not even in this graph. It basically means like with whatever we are using. So at night we are of course consuming some energy, then we use the fireplace, and then the AC started cycling, plus the water heater was actually being used here also at the same time, or it runs automatically. One of the real nice benefits of the Tesla module is that the solid or the darker blue line is actually the state of charge of here of the batteries. So we drove it down to around 78% or so. But the voltage, as you can see, follow quite closely to that one. So it's a really easy way of figuring out how much charge you have left in your battery by looking at the voltage in here actually also. This one is again just the percentage of the operating range from 24.1 down to 20 volts that has been mapped in here. So on a summer day, our RV will typically use around 9 kilowatt hours, and we use a lot during the day with computers and creating food and things like that one. So we only need 25% of that from the batteries actually. But looking at how much you would need to charge, it will be 750 amp hours in a 12 volt system. If you want to run 10 hours AC in 90 degrees, you would need 6 kilowatt hours more, and 25% of that is coming from the battery after the sun is not very strong any longer. If you want to do 24/7 AC in 100 degrees, you would need 12 kilowatt hours, and you would need at least 40% of that coming from the batteries. On an overcast day, you need quite a lot more actually coming from the batteries in that day when you have partly cloudy in here. So the typical appliances that we have, our electric water heater is by far the most energy consuming one. We use around 2 kilowatt hours per day on that one, but we have insulated the water heater quite a lot, so that actually ended up making it so we can probably use half or even less than a standard water heater. Second largest is our refrigerator. It's a very efficient residential refrigerator. It was a replacement for a Norcold 1200, and it fits in the same room. It used 1.2 kilowatt hours. Coffee machine and a water kettle use again half a kilowatt hour, and the Tesla batteries can't really handle being cold, so we have a little heater element on there. And in the summer it don't run very much, but in the winter it actually runs quite a lot to keep the battery above 60 degrees all the time. The electronics is kind of interesting because we have a router, a NAS, and some cooling fan and a few other things in the room, and it almost uses as much as our refrigerator. We also have a satellite-based internet, allowing us to get internet anywhere. It uses quite a lot of energy also actually in there. So the router and the satellite connection use a lot more than our residential refrigerator. A typical laptop with an Alexa player, multiple USB chargers and so on, use around half a kilowatt hours per day. And then we have a 40-inch LCD with a Plex server that also uses 0.4 kilowatt hours. All these graphs are actually generated from Elgato Eve in a way that it will capture on the outlets how much is actually being used on those ones. It gets quite useful that way. But the real message in here is this: it can be done running 24/7 AC. You need quite a lot of battery. 40% out of the 40 batteries that is similar to the AGM in here would be around 12 batteries just to run the one AC in there. So with normal lead acid batteries in a mobile setup, you can't really do it. With battle-bond lithium, it will be possible because you can basically carry enough batteries. But to be really able to do that, you need to go beyond something that is much more compact, like the Tesla modules here. Basically the same storage as 20 battle-bond batteries or 40 regular lead acids in here.